franchises people invest in today. The inside scoop, we're not gonna make any earnings claim. The inside scoop gonna help you avoid franchises that are lame.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the We Bought a Franchise podcast. I'm Jack Johnson.
I'm Jill Johnson.
And we are here today with our special guest, Mercedes Fonte, who is the owner of 2 units of the Back Nine Golf franchise. Mercedes, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
This is we have been so excited for this because this, we spent the last franchise owner we had on, we talked about power washing. Now we're here to talk to you about indoor golf. Talk to us about, how did this come to be? How did you become the owner of such an exciting franchise?
Well, I'll tell you what, I never would have guessed that I would do this for a living. This is actually my 3rd career. So, this is something that I didn't plan for, but it happened and I'm so thrilled. I started my career in hospitality and that's what I went to school for. Believe it or not, there's a degree for that. Actually in Fort Myers, Florida. So down out by you guys. And I was in a country club at first, and I was in a Ritz-Carlton hotel down there in Naples, and then, museum. I was at Dallas Museum of Art and loved it, but transitioned to to finance for a little over 10 years, and then I was in a position where I wanted to invest some money. I thought it was going to be real estate. I have a property down there in Florida and it's a rental. And I'm like, well, that does really well. Maybe I need another one. And my fiance actually said, you know what, you should probably look at a business. So that's when the journey started. And I started to search and I looked at mom and pops and I came across a franchise, not the Back Nine. I thought I was going to go with that, but I didn't. The good thing that came out of that was I realized that I wanted a franchise. Just because I've always been in corporate America. I've never quite been a full-time business owner. And it's kind of like a business in a box. So, you have the training, the support, the structure. So that's when I really dove into the franchise world and on my own, believe it or not, did a ton of research. My fiance did help me research and looked into different concepts. And then we came across Back Nine. So, my passion for golf and the fact that, the business model aligned with what I wanted to do, that's how I ended up here. So long-winded answer, but that was great.
I mean, it's, Jill and I, what drove us to become franchise owners is we have a franchise consulting business called the Franchise Insiders, where we help people become franchise owners every single day. So one, you start to get a little jealous. You're watching all your clients, build up assets and scale these businesses. Being a franchise consultant's a lot like being a realtor. We eat what we kill, but we don't build a ton of equity. And so for years and years, Jill and I are searching for a business, and finally we found the one that we wanted to invest in. And having that diversification, which is what that key piece that I heard you say, you've got the rental property. Now it was time to add a business and sort of start to round out the portfolio. And I think that's great. And so with a business like yours, what does it look like? I mean, it looks like you're sitting at home right now. What does an everyday sort of life look like for you running this franchise?
Yes, I am sitting at home today. I do office out of my home. So that's wonderful. Today we had a snow day here in Omaha. So no school for the kids. So my son's home and this gives me the flexibility where I can do that. Of course, my concept, the Back Nine doesn't require full staffing full time. As a matter of fact, some of these run staff less. But that gives me the flexibility to decide and be able to control hey, what does my day look like? So a day in the life, I mean, my all my computer stuff, all my virtual meetings, all my phone calls happen at home. I try and work out every day. I try and play a little golf every day on the simulators. But I spend a lot of time in the community. And I love that. When I was in finance, I loved acquisition and I still do. So I do spend a lot of time building relationship in the community, telling people about Back Nine, how we're different, what helps, what are the benefits of coming into the Back Nine, not only as a and as an athlete, but also as a business owner, because all the networking and all the entertaining that happens in there is great. So I spend a lot of time in the community, a lot of time in the facility. I just enjoy being there, love meeting the members. And that's what my day looks like, honestly.
So, okay. So the next thing you said that's really interesting is that there can be events in that space. People can, from a corporate standpoint, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
rent out the space for a period of time. And I don't know if you can share this or you have the data. I have a feeling you probably do. What percentage of revenue comes from more sort of corporate gigs at the back nine?
Yeah. So my facilities, well, specifically now both of them, I just opened the second one in January. So not a ton of
Okay.
data there, but my first one I opened in August, and about 25% of my membership comes from corporate. And I think that's not typical of a back nine. It's beginning to be because other franchisees are seeing, wow, this can be more of a partnership with other business owners versus just individual membership. So that's starting to grow in that. But a lot of those relationships that I had from my previous roles, I was able to integrate into this to say, hey, for business owners, do you want to entertain your employees? We have some leagues that come out
Mm.
of employee engagement opportunity. We have private events, whether it's with clients or employees. So there's a lot of different opportunity, but about 25% of my revenue comes from the corporate side. So mostly
Okay.
membership, but also events and leagues. Amazing.
So so we just, in fact, right before we got on the podcast with you, we were talking to our GM. We just landed a really big HOA client, and what we're going to do is do power washing all throughout the neighborhood for their
Nice.
sort of neighborhood space. It's big job. $25,000 job that we will finish in about 6 days. And
Nice.
so, yay, big job, but it's like they don't, as part of the deal, they didn't want to do a deposit and they wanted to pay in full once the job was complete, and their terms are like 14 days. So one of our challenges was, how are we going to do this while we're paying a crew and keep cash flow coming? Because that's, I mean, again, as a business owner, this might be all of our biggest sort of sore spot, especially in the first year, is cash flow. And
Hmm.
so we were looking at the calendar. We're like, okay, what we have to do is we have to sort of mix this job in with other days where our residential clients, they pay us the minute the job is done, they pay us in credit card. So we determined that, okay, over a 2-week period, we're going to stick these 6 days in there, interspersed with residential jobs that will pay us
Right.
to sort of mitigate that the sort of cash flow challenge that it presents. And I think we came up with a solution that works. So now this is leading into my next question for you. When you do corporate events like that, do they do a similar thing with how they're paying you, or do they pay instantaneously for those types of events?
Most of the time when I require 50% upfront.
Okay.
And so then they pay the day of the event, the rest of it.
Well, I thought it was interesting that you said that they can run without someone. So how does that work? And what does your staffing situation look like?
Yeah. So this concept is the best way to describe it. It's kind of like a 24-hour fitness for golfers.
Okay.
So basically, members, we provide an app for members. They book online or on the app, and then there's a button right on the app, or a button that gets texted to the person that doesn't have the app to open the door. So
Wow.
basically, they're securing their booth or their bay online the whatever time they want to come in, and then they get in with this button. And then once they're there, I mean, it's pretty much self-service. They turn on the simulators. Some people have an account where they report all their stats and kind of stay on top of that. And then other people, just want to play, just want to practice or play a round of golf. So that's been huge, because that means that we don't have to have somebody there all the time.
Do you have someone there during like normal business hours or just as needed?
Sometimes we do have some franchisees, I mean, that do have staff there full time during the day. My or locations, I don't have somebody there full time, but we do give free demos. So we want to be there when somebody schedules a demo. We do have public tea times, so it's not member only.
Okay.
So sometimes people, when they come in for the first time, they kind of want to see what it's like. And so we do have somebody there for those things. But not all the time. No.
Yeah, that's great.
And we can play at like a number of different like real life courses, right? Virtually. Is that the thing?
Yeah, it's super cool. We use full swing technology. So, one of the top, if not the top in the industry. Not sure if you've seen the TGL, Tomorrow's Golf League, Tiger Woods out there in Jupiter, Florida. Um, they use the full swing. So it's top notch technology. And it's cool because almost every month we get one course that's new. So it's kind of fun to see what course is out there. But there's courses from all over the world. We even have a Nebraska course, Dismal River, that's really well known. It's one of the top courses out here and in the nation. And so it's kind of cool that you can play these courses and potentially then go out there and actually book a tee time in the actual
that's really
course
cool.
and see how you do.
That is super cool. And do you think like, so for me, like I'm a terrible golfer, but I would love to be better at it, right? But
Yes.
is this something? Obviously, I see the appeal, just like the gym for someone that works out every day. Clearly, I see the appeal. Especially, I think I would also think being in a cold weather state where you guys deal with snow days, being able to go play around, in the comfort of a retail environment is wonderful. But are there specific programs for beginner golfers as well?
Yeah. So I love that we give the opportunity for people that are, intimidated by going out on a golf course. It's not the same when you're learning out there and there's like people behind you and you're kind of nervous that maybe you'll hit somebody or hit somebody's house. So I think, and then lose all your golf balls.
Yeah.
So this gives a perfect environment for golfers of all skill levels. So if you're a beginner, you can go in there and practice where, it's semi-private, nobody's really watching, nobody's really pressuring you. The other thing is we do have golf pros that teach in our facility. So even if it's like your first lesson, or we have programming where sometimes we have group lessons. So just getting in there, figuring out, hey, what is it that I want to work on, whether it's by myself or partner with a pro that can give me some pointers. And then I can go in there and practice every day if I want to. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from our members that we've had a couple nice days here this winter, but they've been able to go out into the course and play outside and they see the difference. So that's super exciting that it's actually making a difference for people and not just fun, but improving their game.
And how does the franchisor help you facilitate those relationships with local pros, or is that something you have to do? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, it's interesting because boots on the ground, it's like you're running your own business. I don't know how it is in the power wash world or with your franchise, but boots on the ground, this is my business, this is my baby. All of the relationships are facilitated through me and my team. Now, the franchise does do a great job in going out there and partnering with big organizations like Titleist. I know that there's a partnership there. Obviously, with Full Swing, there's a great partnership. And among others, even Travis Matthews, some of the golf apparel brands. We have partnerships with a lot of these different organizations and businesses. So it's nice to leverage those, but locally, it's really boots on the ground, getting out there, meeting these people, connecting. So they do a lot of training, but at the end of the day, it's all on you, like any other business.
Franchise owner makes the franchise special. It's always been the case. It's what you do as a franchise owner. A great franchisor can give you all these tools, structure, support, but ultimately you've got to be the one with the urgency to go build that business. And that's, we were talking to another franchisor about this, in that we have a term called resales. So when somebody doesn't want to own their franchise anymore, they sell it to someone else. And, historically, I think we on the franchise development side have sort of looked at resales as, not an ideal thing. And I really do think that's changing. Inherently in any franchise, you're going to have 5 to 10% that wants to sell their business or isn't a fit for the business. And so I think it's taking a more proactive stance And a lot of people out there say, well, if I sign a franchise agreement, am I locked in for those 10 years? I can't do anything. And you can absolutely sell your business as long as the franchisor approves the new buyer and pays the transfer fee is paid. Anyways, I don't know why I went down that path, but it goes back to what you said. Ultimately, we as the franchise owners, we're the ones responsible for making the business go.
Well, I think maybe what you were getting at is that a business could be listed for sale, and it's not necessarily the business; it's the business owner,
right?
So for you, networking and like you said, you're out most of the day just around people and getting involved in the community, and it could be that the previous business owner was not doing.
Yeah.
So their sales were struggling. So sometimes it does make a big difference of that business owner and what they're willing to put into it and things that they can change. So resale is not always a bad thing.
No, it's
a great opportunity for someone to come in and say, you were doing it this way. And I think if I do it this way,
100%.
we should see a dramatic increase.
Yeah. No, I think that's really well said. And it's why, Mercedes, full disclosure, when we contact franchisors about pairing us with franchise owners, we say, give us top performers, because we want people who listen to our show, who are thinking about becoming franchise owners, to learn from top performers. And so the thing that I think a lot of business owners can agree on, and maybe where the back nine has cracked the code, is that the hardest part about running a business isn't getting the business, it's managing and keeping great employees, especially when you get
100%.
when you get those really good ones. It's like, oh my gosh, look at how much better the business runs. So my question to you is, without this need to have a lot of full-time employees, like, what is that like? Like, that's got to make things quite a bit easier in terms of running the business.
Yeah, and I think I think I still bring it all together, even because just to address your previous point too, at some point we need to start hiring people if we want to scale, right? Like, so for me, scaling means growing and in locations. And then eventually, like, I'm not going to work forever, right? So there might be one day that I build this and I scale it enough to where it's, like you said earlier, building equity for me and for my family. So something that I could potentially sell down the road, 20 years. I'm going to want to retire one day, but maybe, who knows? But at the end of the day, you do have to start scaling it at some point so that you can leverage your skill set in the right way. Because as a business owner, you're learning and you're growing. So you can't, of course, how do you promote yourself, right? And that's kind of where I'm getting to. Like, at some point you have to hire staff so that you can promote yourself to think at another level and to run and execute things at another level. So I do have a couple of, quote unquote salespeople that are out there with me. I'm training, kind of getting them in the community, getting them involved, spreading the word about Back Nine here in the Omaha Metro. And then I just hired a facilities coordinator. So this is like a right-hand gal, somebody, she's in the golf industry. She's an athlete. She's somebody that really loves golf, but, so she'll help me with programming, like different events, different training classes, we do kids clubs in the summer. So, I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting ready to open a third. Can I handle this all on my own?
Yeah.
And of course, you can hire an accountant, you can hire a social media company, you can hire like these different professionals. But at the end of the day, you want to build a core team to help you execute so that you can go to the franchise conference like we're going to tomorrow, Otherwise, you're stuck just like any other business owner would be. So I think it's timing. You have to time it, right? Like, when is it? But it's almost like one of those questions, like, when you're getting ready to grow a family, it's like, when's the perfect time to have a kid? You can't really time it. You have to kind of feel like, okay, you don't want to wait too long because then you're in the weeds. You don't want to do it too early. So
just do it.
You figure it out and it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're really ahead of the game. When we advise our clients, and for any of you that want to learn more about the Back Nine or get a franchise consultation, text us at 305-710-0050. When we consult with our clients, it's always talking about, yes, we're going to look to identify the right franchise, right, for right now. But we also want to think about the business you want to be. And we want to make sure you understand running your business in a way that's going to make it more valuable. And ultimately, the more a business can run without the business owner, and I'm not saying we buy a business for it to be absentee. All of us know that businesses require a lot of time, capital in the beginning. But ultimately, business owners need to build the business to run without them if they want to have a successful exit, meaning that they can sell for a 3-4 times multiple. So those things that you're saying are very wise and very true. And we looked at it the same way. We bought all of Palm Beach County for Pinks, and we hired a GM, and he's worth every penny. He's a great guy, but we pay him a great salary because we wanted to build a company that could grow and ultimately have 15, 20 trucks one day.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like I tell everybody I'm in growth mode right now. I'm in growth mode because, not only time, but money, so it takes, if you want to grow, you have to invest in it. But then you also have to build it so you can scale. So
Yeah.
it's almost like a fun little math equation.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is.
It's every day is an adventure. But it's not. I don't know about you. I mean, I think we probably spend about 2 hours a day on Pinks. That'd be my guess. Some days more, some days less. I think we're thinking about it. We talk about it at the dinner table every night, but it doesn't take like 12 hours of grinding per day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when I'm ready to hire that GM, I think that's gonna be it's gonna be nice to have somebody to kind of run the business, and then I can be business owner hat versus in the business. That's another thing. I mean, when I was in finance and I was recruiting financial advisors, I would talk about in the business and on the business. And in the beginning, you kind of feel like you're in the business a lot, but you do have to take a step back and kind of talk about it at the dinner table and have those conversations of what does tomorrow look like? What is 3 months? What is a year? What does 5 years look like? Because you don't want to be stuck in the business forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think getting that experience in the business is really good. I think knowing what
100%.
your GM will potentially do will make it easier for you to find the right person and then train them. And, Jack and I always talk about it with our franchise consulting business that, we were having a great time doing a great job consulting and telling people which franchises to go into, but we hadn't owned one ourselves. And now that we're in it, for that business, now that we're in it, we now know. And so we can better advise and talk to our clients and really prepare them for what they're, what's ahead of them. So we've kind of done it that way. But I think it's really important to do like really what you're doing, be in the business now and grow it to the point where you can step back and bring someone in. And you're fortunate that, this business allows you to do that because that's really the best way to grow and grow steady and, be solid, have solid foundation.
Yeah. That's great.
I think, I totally agree with it depends on the business, right? Like not every business is going to allow you to do that. That's why it's so important to talk to people like you guys to figure out okay, what do I want to commit? Like time, money, mental, clarity, what do I want to commit? And then maybe it's someone that's like, no, I want to be in there every day. Maybe it's someone that's like, no, I kind of want to run this semi-passively. Is there something out there that can help me do that? Yeah.
The simple answer is the more capital, the easier you can do it. But the truth of it is that no one can replace the hustle of the owner. And it does take, it's like, and by the way, as leaders, we want to show our the people that work for us that we're not afraid to roll up our sleeves and work alongside them. And for Jill and I, that doesn't mean we're out there, washing windows or power washing. We're all about scaling versus scrubbing. But what it does mean is to give our GM reprieve on the weekend, Jill and I will handle the first contacts on the new leads that come in. And that's not a big deal because we've got a great CRM. So we were at dinner on Sunday night, new lead comes in. I'm able to send a quick text and an email through our CRM. Here's, responding to them. Here's our openings. Boom. It was done in 2 minutes. It didn't take that much time and it wasn't that hard. And frankly, I kind of like to do it. There are other Pinks owners that may not be their thing, but they want to get out there with their team and wash windows right alongside them for an hour to show that they're solid with them in the business. I think that's the cool thing is that as a franchise owner, you get to choose how you want to lead. it's your
Right.
chance to be the leader of the show and run the company.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely game changing compared to corporate America, where you're given like, here's the plan for this year and
Right.
go execute. So it's very different. Yeah. You get to
Yeah,
choose.
it's not for everybody, and we know that. But to your point, I know you did all the research before finding the right one for you. We love when people come to us because we can walk them through all this too. Because there are some franchises where you can get a playbook and this is how you do it, and there's not a lot of flexibility. And we want to find the right match for people,
Right.
and that's so important to do that. And hearing your story is also great for our clients to hear and for everyone to hear that you can do it. You can have a work-life balance. You can take a snow day and it's okay. The business is still running and still doing well. And I think it's really important for people to see all the different types of franchise opportunities that are out there.
Yeah. What's been your biggest surprise so far as a franchise owner? What's the thing that you weren't prepared for?
Oh man. That's a good question. Let's see. I wasn't prepared for growth this quickly. I wasn't
Good problem.
anticipating that I was going to have an opportunity to open a second and then a third. I really thought it would take me more time to even think about it. That has been the absolute biggest surprise, to be honest. And I think it all stemmed from the amount of interest in this brand and in this concept, because there are so many people out there looking at this opportunity. And once I brought it to market, I was the first in the Midwest. And once I brought it to market, people were like, whoa, what is this? I want to do this too. So I had to make a choice of like, hey, do I want to, if I'm able to, do I want to move forward with the second and third location? And luckily I was. But yeah, that was surprising.
That brings up another question that I've received in regards to the back nine when I've showed it to prospective franchise owners. They've said to me, "Oh man, I feel like those things are popping up on every block now."
Yeah.
What's your thought when you hear that comment?
I think I think we're different. I think obviously the back nine is different. And I can get into why, but I also feel like this concept, we're right at the beginning of this opportunity. So what I'm trying to say is golf is going to be around forever, right? People are going
Yeah.
to want to golf forever. Right now, I mean, golf simulators have been around for a really long time. Right now, they're kind of exploding. And I feel like it's because people are seeing it as a training facility, not just something they do in the cold season or when it's too hot outside. So now it's almost like a fitness center for golfers where they get to go and work on their game. They book their tee time. They can go every day, 24/7, any time of the day, and stay up on their game year round. And even when it's like beautiful out and they're playing the course, they want to come in and train 3 times a week so that they don't, like we said earlier, go out there and lose every golf ball like I usually did.
Yeah.
Now I'm losing about half as many. So I think that there's a market for it. 100% there is. I think that our concept is different because it's not a bar. So some people want to go use them to have fun and play with their friends and, have a drink and have a couple bites to eat. Other people are actually wanting to work on their game and like train. And we're really, that's more of our clientele. Of course, you can come on the weekend, play around the golf with your friends, in the simulator, but a lot of our members and the people that come into back nine are golfers, or they want to be golfers and they really want to work on their game. So that's kind of, there's a market for it.
Yeah. Training versus like a social, like you guys are focused more on the training and the skills.
Yeah.
Because like you said, come have a drink and
Yes, it's not a party scene. It's family oriented, it's professional, it's and then at the end of the day, absolutely have fun with it. I have people invite their friends and come play and get ready for playing outside, or but it's more of a year-round thing. It could get oversaturated, I don't know. So that's where it takes like our strategy and like how can we be different? How can we be better, so that we can stand out among the others? But yeah, that's a great question.
If you think about it, how many different gyms are there? There's a different kind of gym on every corner. And people have their brands that they're loyal to. Equinox members are different than 24-hour fitness members. So like you said, I mean, there's room for growth. And the other thing that you said, golf's going to be around forever. I mean, look at it as I feel like anytime we're landing in a plane, no matter what city we fly into, we fly over big, beautiful golf courses. And even in cold weather, we see people out there. And it just occurred to me that, and this audience, people who golf is important to, I would argue that is an audience that's probably pretty insulated from economic ups and downs. They probably have the type of disposable income that's pretty consistent and predictable. So you probably won't see much fluctuation with your business. And for the right consumer, it just like fitness is, it's need versus want.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's golf is expensive. Mm-hmm. So you need to have that disposable income. And that's really our target market. The cool thing with Back Nine, though, it does make it affordable because it's not as expensive as going to join a golf course. Right. It does make it affordable for somebody. I think about it like what I put myself in the shoes of my client, right? So when I was in finance, I could not, at the time I was building my book of business, I could not go join a golf course, but there was so much business done on the golf course. So I was like, I can't go out there and look like a fool, swinging my club and not getting the ball anywhere. So I think about it as like, that was me. Some of my members, they are young professionals. They want to do business. They want to be out on a golf course and they don't want to look ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So they come in, it's affordable. Prices start at $140 a month. So they get to go in there, book an hour, practice and up their game, have fun and be able to go outside and do business on the golf course like everybody else. I love.
And it's all app based, right? We don't have to call anybody. We can just do it all via the app.
Yes.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Don't have to talk to people. Don't have to look foolish in front of people. I'm telling you. We may have to buy the franchise. It's gone here for sure.
Yeah. Does a lot for your confidence. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, in South Florida, golf is huge here, and we belong to a golf club, and we don't golf, and it's exactly that reason. Yeah, we were just talking to friends the other night. We were saying, "Come with us; it's fun." We're like, "We're really bad," but maybe we could secretly get good.
Yeah.
And then when we finally accept the invitation, they'll be blown away.
Right. Now we'll show up.
I love that.
Here we are.
I love that. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to think of it that way. You don't get the ability to practice every day. When I see the fees for even just being members at all our country club, it's a lot. So you're not going to be out there golfing every single day. It's going to rack up a lot of money. So if you could do something in the meantime and practice and keep your skills up,
right?
Then like you said, you're not wasting the one day that you do go out there.
I mean, I do still like going for the restaurants. That's for me. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Hey, can we talk?
The cool thing is, I was just going to say something real quick that I think it's fun, but a lot of people get really excited out here because there's not much to do outside of golf. There's like golf, hunting, and good restaurants. Yeah. And, there's these really cool courses that are really hard to get into. And it's like, imagine you pay all this money to go play at this really cool course and then your ball you can't even play because you're being pushed because you're taking too long. So it's a game changer. It really is.
I love that. I've really never thought of it that way. And I love that.
You're in Omaha, right?
Yes.
We've heard that now multiple times that the restaurants in Omaha are fabulous.
Yeah.
And like beautiful, I mean, I'm going way off track now, but like great looking communities and houses. Like I don't know that enough of the country is aware of how cool Omaha is.
Yeah. You need to come to Omaha. Believe it or not, I'm from Miami, Florida. And I've only been here for 3 years and I was so pleasantly surprised. Like the restaurants are great. The people are amazing. We're in the middle of the country. So I'm from South Florida. It's hard to get out of Florida. It's a long travel day. So, so anyway, you guys should come out and visit us.
We have
I'll
a client.
You a tea time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We have a client. I mean, Omaha's kind of a little franchise. Like there's Franchise Fastlane is there. Horsepower Brands is there. We have a client that bought a franchise called Gatsby Glass here in Boca Raton.
Oh, okay.
And so he had to go out to a discovery day in Omaha, and he was nervous. He's like, what is in Omaha? What's that going to be like? And he came back and he's like, no, it's really cool there. So we've now heard that multiple times. Okay, here's my last question for you. How long have you been open?
So my first location was July was soft open, August was grand opening.
Okay.
2024.
So
So
here
not
you
quite
are.
a year.
You're almost a year. What advice would you have for people considering franchise ownership now that you're almost a year in? What would be the best advice you would have for someone that's considering franchise ownership?
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased because of course I'm in it, right? But I really do believe that if you want to be a business owner, um, obviously look at all your options. I think either buying an existing business or buying a franchise is the best way to go. Starting a business from scratch is really difficult to get funding, to figure it all out, to create the wheel, right? Here, you don't really have to recreate the wheel because you get that playbook, right? That business in a box, like I call it. So I think the best advice would be like do your research to make sure that you have the right one for you. Because it could go fantastic or horribly wrong if it's not the right franchise, not the right, not only like the business model, but also like the team, like the corporate team behind it.
Right.
You have to make sure that like there's a lot of synergy with what they want to accomplish in the future and what you want to accomplish in the future, and how can you be a part of that team. So I think maybe that's the biggest piece of advice. Like choose wisely, and luckily there are people like you out there that can help them. But I think that's because it's a phenomenal opportunity. I mean, especially for somebody that's never been a business owner, because you have everything you need, and then you can really shine locally, but you have the support back in home base.
Yeah. No, I think what you just said is spot on. It is about the people. That's one of the reasons why we invested in the franchise we did, because when we met the people, and again, being franchise consultants, if there's been any founders that have come up in the last 15 years, we likely know them on a first name basis. We know all these people, we know the teams, we know who's investing in their support, and we know who's a mess on the back end. And one of the main reasons we invested in the franchise we did is because we like the layers of support, the team. I mean, heck, I text with the founders of our company on a consistent basis.
And they're always so helpful and
yes,
encouraging. I mean, everyone wants the same thing. Everyone wants to win. So when you're
right.
When you buy a franchise, you have a whole team of support behind you. They want you to succeed. You want to succeed. You just have like a big group of people that all want to do well. So, you love that. You love having that, positive energy and the support behind you, and you don't get that when you start your own business. It's just you.
No, I mean, so Jill made an awesome point. Franchisors don't make any money off franchise fees. That $50,000 that we pay for a franchise fee, that goes towards training. It's a symbiotic relationship in that they make money off royalties. And the only way they make good royalty money is if your franchise is collecting a lot of gross revenue. So we all sort of are on the same team, and we all sort of have the same goal, like Jill said. So where's your guys' franchise conference? Where are you going?
St. George, Utah.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
Yeah.
What a perfect place for a golf franchise to have a conference.
Yeah, that's where our home base is. That's where the home office is. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, enjoy it. Thank you for being so generous with your time. For all of you out there who'd like to learn more about the Back Nine, please text Jill and I at 305-710-0050. We'd be happy to get you connected and figure out if your territory is still available. I know it's moving pretty quick, so don't mess around. Yeah. Mercedes, Thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate spending some time with you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And that's it for the We Bought a Franchise podcast for this week. I'm Jack Johnson.
I'm Jill Johnson.
And we'll talk to you next time. Take care.
Okay.
The Inside Scoop, Jack and Jill gonna help you choose the right money-making franchise today.